Hey, I got an email, and that email was from Simon, who has a friend called Mark. And Mark recently invested in a lot of Soviets, and Simon wanted to help him build a list. And this is Simon's suggestion for a list for his for his friend Mark Milsted. Let's go and watch. So we have the list here. 20 order dice, 1,000 points. Wow. One thing I will say, I don't know Mark, but if he is a newer player, playing a Soviet horde is maybe more difficult than it needs to be. So I don't think a horde list is for a new player. I am going to review this as if this is a competitive list. That's all I'm going to do. Junior Lieutenant, regular. I would not buy this if it was a competitive list. If it's just for a new player trying out stuff, yes, perfect. But then buy him a few extra men. I think that would be a good idea. Just because since he is regular, you can give him those 3 submachine guns, and that makes them more usable. It makes them into a small infantry squad, basically. But if it's for competitive purposes, I would not go a single regular lieutenant. No, I wouldn't. Riflemen, loads and loads of riflemen. They are green, they're inexperienced, 10 rifles. They're pretty good, but this is definitely a horde build, right? This is bodies on the table, and the commissar will be there to make sure that the green tests work better. There's even a Frotnik commissar as well. So that is double commissar shenanigans. I like this, by the way, and it does work with these inexperienced rifle squads. So in that respect, yes, this is a build, and it's a competitive build as well. Um, I just think it's more difficult to play with. There are 3 rifleman squads, all of them inexperienced, all of them green. The Frotnik, of course, has the not one step back and inspiring rhetoric rules, and these are down here. So let's go. Inspiring rhetorics. They don't suffer the -1 to hit penalty for being inexperienced. That is why you can use these Frotniks. So you have to be within 6, but you place him with 1 unit in front and 1 unit to each of the sides, and then he just moves up with them as they're shooting, as they're skirmishing forward. Not one step back. They don't confer morale troops. However, they can reroll morale, which is kind of nifty. So yeah, and then there are 2 scout squads. These scout squads are really cool as well. They put pressure on the enemy quite early on, so they are competitive. I've seen them being used really competitively. But again, they are not something, because you can easily lose these units. They're not for a new player. The free rifle squad, again, this benefits from the commissars. So that's the 4th unit that can move behind the rest, being the charging reserves, basically. Heavy mortar team with a spotter, perfect for the noob, the rookie player. But if you're going for a competitive one, you might even cut that down to inexperienced, especially because you have two scout squads, and a sniper team, so you will win the forward deployment game. Your heavy mortar is not going to be very threatened by enemy snipers. The sniper team, flamethrower team, tank hunters, wow, you are definitely going to win the forward deployer team, because these also forward deploy. So if the enemy deploys any snipers out there, you're going to hunt them down quite easily. An Ampoulet anti-tank team, inexperienced, yes. The Ampoulet is fun. It's not very competitive, it's just fun. It's fun to play with. A dog mine, they are also quite good, very competitive. He buys them in experience here. We have a light mortar in experience. And this is the thing for me. If you're buying the heavy, that was a light howitzer in experience. If you're buying the heavy mortar regular with a spotter, why not buy the light howitzer regular? I mean, and then just downgrade the heavy mortar to inexperienced. This light howitzer can shoot directly and is actually quite good at it. It's a +3. I don't think you should. No, it's a +2, isn't it? It doesn't matter. It does have an AP. So I think howitzers can be regular. Mortars, buy them inexperienced, especially if you're winning the forward deployment game. Armored car, a gas jeep with a pintle-mounted MMG. That's perfectly fine. It's very cheap. A Katusha for the tank choice, inexperienced. I think I would buy a something armored for a rookie player. The Katusha is sometimes completely overpowered and not fun to play against. Sometimes it's just it's difficult to get to work properly. And what it does is it spreads out the enemy. And what you want to do is not necessarily spread out the enemy. Yeah, I think I would buy something else here. A gas jeep for the flamethrower, I am guessing. Another gas jeep for maybe one of the dog mines. Yes, I think so. And I think you could cut some of these away, like one of the transports and the Katusha, maybe even the armored car. All of that should go into this pot here, and then just buy a steward if you're going to go that route, or something else. I just I I don't like a Katusha for a new player, and I think it's not competitive enough, and it's not rookie enough, if you get my meaning. So there's a lot of good stuff in this list. I think you can easily cut down a few order dice because it's very high on order dice. And there are a few things that I would do differently, but the whole trick with the green units and the commissars, I really like that trick. It's a cool list. Thank you so much for sending this list to me, Simon and Mark. Good luck. Welcome to Soviets. Cheers.